Hey everyone, and welcome to Totally Music Official. I'm Tracy, and I interview, review, react, and chat about new songs, new albums, and live shows. Today I'm going to be joined by independent musician Tiny Mess. Tiny Mess is a French-Canadian singer-songwriter who writes songs based on delicate dialogue between voice and piano, as well as rich arguments revealing her singularity. Her universe mixes fragility and strength with intimate stories tied with power. Tiny Mess has joined me today to chat about her music and musical career, so you can find out more about it. Let's get started. So today I'm excited to welcome Tiny Mess to Totally Music to chat about her musical career. Tiny Mess, welcome to Totally Music. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yes, so I'm Tiny Mess. My name is Nolwenn, and I've been making music. Well, I've been playing music since I was 9 years old, and now I'm doing my own thing. I've been working on my project. The first release was 5 years ago, so it's been 5 years since Tiny Mess has publicly existed.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to have you on. So for people who don't know you yet, how would you describe your musical style in your own words?
Um, it's always really tough to describe musical styles. Like, I think anyone you ask, well, at least anyone I ask around me who is also a musician, they're always like, I'm not sure. It's a mix of things. And I think that's very kind of a generational thing also, that there's so many different influences. But I'd say, so I started studying classical music. So there's definitely something with classical music in my music, something to do with classical music. And then I'd say there's a good influence of jazz harmonies in the way I'll write chords on the piano and the way I'll arrange things. Um, but then I listen to a lot of folk music or indie folk, and um, and since I'm French, I also have like the French chanson française influence as well. So it's kind of a mix of all those things with arrangements that depend on the style and the people I'm working with, but that would be a little bit richer and going towards more pop, I'd say, or that's where I'd like to go, at least. I don't know if it's clear because it's always hard to describe a style, but
No, yeah, definitely. So no, it sounds good. So what first drew you into singing? Was there a moment when you realized music was your thing?
um, I always kind of sang for myself. It took me a long time to accept to sing in front of people. It was always kind of a very private thing,
Yeah.
but also a space where I felt very free and to experiment things and to express myself. So anytime I was on my own in the house, or anytime I'm still on my own in the house, I end up singing loudly and making a bunch of imitations and stuff. So I think even imitating different singers has always been an exercise that I like to do. But I started writing songs when I was a teenager. So I started the piano at 11, and then a little quite soon after that, I started writing pieces on the piano. And then around, I'd say 14 years old, something like that, I started writing songs.
Gosh, wow. So what inspires you the most when you're writing lyrics?
Um, that's also a difficult question in the sense that I really feel that anything can be an inspiration, but it depends on if that thing touches you or if it resonates with you at a certain moment. So I wouldn't say I have something that inspires me more than anything, but of course it's what I'm going through and the emotions that I have, and it's always been a very therapeutic thing to write music. So it often starts with I'd say often sad feelings, actually,
Mhm.
because that's the thing or sad is kind of a general word, but just discomfort
Yeah.
that I'll need to put in a certain form for it to get out of me and become something else.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So can you walk us through your creative process when you start a new song?
Oh, I feel like all my answers are not very direct, but I don't really think I have a specific way of writing a song. I think it also depends on if I'm writing it with someone else, or often if I'm on my own, I think it often starts with the first few words or the melody that will come to me clearly as I'm either taking my shower or walking in the street or whatever. So I have, of course, a bunch of recordings on my phone of random recordings that sometimes are good and sometimes are like, I'm not sure what that was. And it often starts like that. And then I try to find the chords that go with that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll be the other way around and I'll start playing something on the piano and then a melody will come on top of that. But I'd say it's quite intuitive. I don't really sit down and I'm rarely like, okay, I'm going to write about this specific subject now. And yeah.
Cool. So is there a song of yours that feels especially meaningful or personal right now?
I just released my EP, Silent Battles. So those songs are meaningful at the moment in the sense that they're new for people who are listening to them.
Yeah.
For me, they're not new as often as it's often the case for people who create things, and I recorded them in 2020, so they're new to the public, but for me it's kind of going back through things I was going through then. But I'd say that the song Cold is the one that I'm most attached to, in the sense that I think also because it's just piano and voice.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to a very essential feeling. And so I can easily connect to that song. And I wrote it 10 years ago. So it just feels like I just sit down and get right back into that song, even though I don't feel what I was feeling when I wrote it, but I just connect to that song more. So I'd say Cold.
Nice. And how do you know when a song is truly finished?
I think the easier way for me to think of how a song is finished is this version of this song finished?
Yep.
Because if you try to finish a song or something and decide that it's going to be the definite final version of it, then it puts a lot of pressure on the creative process. But I found that it helped me when I started thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to do this version for now.
Yeah.
And then once that's finished, I think it's the strongest feeling I've had that really made me think, okay, this is finished, was that the song didn't feel like it was mine. Okay. It felt like it could have been someone else, and I wasn't, it didn't feel like I was listening to my voice, and it didn't feel like I wasn't like, oh, I could have done this differently.
Yeah.
I was just listening to it and being like, okay, what is this song telling me? And so when you get to that point, it's a very nice feeling. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah, I'd say that.
Nice. And is there an artist you'd love to collaborate with someday?
There's a lot of artists I'd love to collaborate with, but I'd say, like, it's always strange because we want to say a lot of famous people, but I don't know, someone like Moses Sumney, or people who I feel would bring me in places where I wouldn't necessarily go myself, like, or in different styles. Someone like, I don't know, Little Sims or something like that. You know, if I had the absolute choice of working with who I wanted, but of course, until I get to those people, it'll be a good while. And then around me, there's a bunch of musicians that I'd be happy to collaborate with that aren't necessarily famous, but just I think you can learn from working with everyone, really. So
nice. And how do you want listeners to feel after hearing your music?
I am trying to learn how to not decide how I want people to feel when they listen to my music. That's the hard thing, honestly. I think it's a difficult thing of letting go and accepting that some people might not be touched the way you would have wanted. So I think my goal would be to stop trying to decide that, but I think I'm very touched when people come to me with a very spontaneous feeling that comes from the moment. And I've the few times I've got messages from people who are saying like I listened and I cried, and those kind of feelings, it's not necessarily like, oh, I want to make people cry, but it's just, that those feelings can't be made up, and it's not people being polite and saying, oh, it's nice and pretty. It really touched something deep. So I think if I can make people feel more at ease with whatever feeling is going through them, and feel less lonely, then it'll be, I think it's a great achievement to think that you've connected with someone in a way that you didn't, and with something else between us that made it possible. So
well, I like that. Good answer. So finally, what's next for you?
what's next for me? Great question. I am very relieved that this EP is out now, and the short film that I made with it, it was a lot of work. So I think now, I think there's going to be more songs in French. I feel like I've written a lot in English up to now, and it's partly decided, partly not decided. It just happened. But I think now more French is coming my way, and I like that because it changes the whole music around it because of the language.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have different ideas for projects, and I also have other projects, not for Tiny Mess, but a duo that's called Lucina, that will start existing this year. That's electronic music, and yeah, different projects and hopefully exciting ones.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming for you.
Thank you.
A massive thank you to Tiny Mess for joining me on Tilting Music. If anyone would like to check out her music, I'll leave all the links in the description below for you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me to chat with Tiny Mess about her music. Leave a comment below to let her know that you're a new fan, and why not check out her music using the links in the description below. And if you would like to discover some more incredible musicians, then please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video I post. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.